We booktubers, we love to talk about our favorite series and why we love them so much. But how often do you see a video about a booktuber talking about their favorite series and what they hate about it? This video, we're going to be talking about our favorite series and what we absolutely hate about it.
I liked it, but I understand your point.
The worst thing it does is the side characters.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna say that.
See, Johan, you agree?
The tone overall is quite dark, but it just doesn't pull me in the same way that other authors do.
All right, the next book series we have is...
And that's why I've invited the amazing Rich and Austin from 2ToRamble to join me in this conversation. How are you guys doing?
And we're doing pretty great. Thank you very much, Johan, for having us on.
Amazing. Thank you, Johan. We love to talk about things we hate, don't we?
People do think of me as the pessimistic one. I've seen our old reviews.
I'll try to bring some levity, but hey, these are series we love. It's just we are only focusing on the bad, right, Johan?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, the world just definitely needs a bit more hate, right? So that's why
If the internet is lacking anything, it's toxicity. That's what it really needs.
And podcasts, yeah.
But yeah, I'll just echo Austin here. We love these series. We think you should go out and read these series, but no piece of literature is perfect. And that's why today we just want to have some fun and focus on some of the elements that didn't personally work for us. So the way this works is we'll present the series and either me or 2ToRamble will mention what we hate. And then we also have science that says whether we agree or disagree with them. So without further ado, let's go into it. And I'll start with the granddaddy Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. And I'll let you know the thing that I hate the most with Lord of the Rings. And this is going to be spicy, hopefully. Tom Bombadil. I hate him.
You know it.
No.
I just disagree for more than meme. It just makes me happy that
Tom Bombadillo, the teddy fella. He's so great.
Wait, should we let Johan explain why first?
Yeah, we should explain why.
Yeah, Johan, don't know. This is a safe place. Don't worry.
Okay, it's a safe place. Okay, maybe hate is a strong word, and I've heard all the arguments for Tom Bombadil, and I do kind of understand it. I just feel like it does not fit the tone of the story at all, and that's my biggest issue. I don't have necessarily an issue with him as a character. If he popped up in Dungeon Crawler Carl, I would be very, very happy. He just does not seem to belong in Middle-earth. I know people say, well, it creates mystique and mystery, and he didn't care about the ring, and that's interesting. It might be interesting, but it is just so random. The tone overall is quite dark, especially when he is introduced, and it's just like, what is going on? Almost broke my immersion the first time I read it, so that's why I kind of hate Tom Bombadil.
You know where I'll definitely agree with is I'm very glad, maybe Richard disagree, I'm very glad Tom Bombadil wasn't in the movies. I don't think it would have worked with the movies, especially it's hard to get across. And again, it is a tone difference. My headcanon, maybe this is real, is that he had The Hobbit and Tom Bombadil in those beginning chapters was more transitioning from the Hobbit tone to Lord of the Rings tone. And that was there. I'm more so disagreeing just because of the meme of Tom Bombadil. You're the more passionate Tom Bombadil. So do you want to go ahead and explain why?
The interesting thing about Tom Bombadil is he's a character that would fit the tone very well if it was closer to the end. And once you know more about the ring, once you know more about Sauron, all these details, the fact that Tom Bombadil is immune to the ring and all this stuff, it reveals a little bit more. You shove that in the beginning, the tonal change of just, oh, this is kind of a nice little, like it feels odd. You have no idea the significance when you're reading it. But then as you keep going on, you start picking up further and further details of, hold on a minute. I just learned this new thing about the ring after that, seeing how it affected Bilbo, especially far after he's released it, and then realizing Tom Bombadil gave it up with nothing. As you further go on, you keep thinking back to Tom Bombadil. And that's what I love about where it was placed, is it also just sparked so much mystery because Tom Bombadil's wife for me, or his woman, whatever, his elfly companion sparked more curiosity for me when they actually do meet the elves. Everything about it is weird. He starts out as just a weird guy in the beginning, and then by the end of the series you go, oh, we met God in like the first section of the story.
Oh
okay. I didn't know that.
Now, Johan, are you in the camp of you would have no Tom Bombadil, or would you have it placed somewhere else, or just removed completely?
You know, the things I do actually love a lot of the things that Tom Bombadil brings to the world. So especially like the mystery and like he doesn't care about the ring. I just wish that he was a bit different. Why does he have to be so weird? Like,
Can't argue that he's weird.
It does not fit the world. if he was still there, but was just a slightly more normal, I probably wouldn't hate him as much. But he's just like bouncing around, and I don't know, it messes with my head. And I'm not really sure exactly. I would love to ask Tolkien, like, what's the point? What's going on here? Why did you write him in?
He's full of joy, man. He doesn't need to be in the realm of more. Like, he's on doing his own thing. He is pure happiness, pure joy. It's wonderful. In a world so dark and filled with hate, the ring, corruption, and there's just Tom Bombadil, just living the way everyone should be living, just happy in the forest. It's great.
Johan, do we have time here to ask Rich what he hates about Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I feel like we need to hear your what do you hate about the Lord of the Rings the most? So maybe I'll agree or disagree with this one.
Man, I don't have much. If I have anything,
wrong video.
Specifically books. Nothing. I have things on the movies, like conversion to the movie. I could actually give you a list of things I have problems with the movies.
It's bull. That's bull.
But if I had to pick one, the movies do a good job of interconnecting all the storylines together, with the books being so rigid. With
switching the point of view from you get Frodo and Sam's, then you get Aragorn, like etc. Yeah,
and it's not intermingled. That does cause some pacing issues. Of where I find the best way to read it then is straight through, and I have to just power through all of it for it to all stay in my head. But if I were to read it at a more leisurely pace, I find the pacing to be not as smooth as others.
I agree. Yes, that is. I do prefer that as well. Having I agree. I agree with that.
So but again, I can't emphasize enough how minor that is. That is minuscule.
What happened to this is a full hate area. I'm
sorry, he picked Lord of the Rings. He picked Lord of the Rings first. What am I supposed to do?
Johan, we gotta get another one. What's the next one?
You could have said Tolkien didn't have to describe the trees for hundreds of pages.
It's my favorite part. It's my favorite part about Lord of the Rings. You don't even understand. Quite literally, the best moment in my reading experience is reading the
Entwives.
Where are the Entwives?
Where are the Entwives?
Got him to look.
That was my favorite thing. I read the Silmarillion because of that moment. I looked up lineages and trees and go like, where are the Entwives? Are the Entwives connected to Tom Bombadil's elf lady friend? I don't know. Maybe. It was great. Describe all the trees.
Oh, that's great. Let's go on to the next one.
All right, the next book series we have is Malazan, Book of the Fallen, of which Rich and I have only read book 1 and 2.
Yep.
And Johan, you've read book 1.5.
Yeah, and I know this video is called favorite series. It's not really my favorite, but I know you enjoyed book 2 more, so that's why I put it on here.
Yeah, we don't even encompass the Malazan fandom because we didn't like book 1, and Malazan fandom does. So we didn't like book 1 and did like book 2. And I think the thing that was harder for us to get on, the thing we hate about the series we're now growing to appreciate, and we'll see, especially in book 1, is the lack of understanding the limits. Was a big one for me. And so I'll agree with myself on that. But for book 1 especially, I'll only talk on the dislike, on the hate side. It was hard to get into book 1, not because of just being confusing. It wasn't that the plot wasn't confusing. It was just I didn't know what to care about was my biggest issue with Malazan in book 1. And so, hey, we got Johan on save. So not knowing what to care about was big. And book 2 did shift that for me. Particularly, whereas book 1 did not. So that's the biggest thing I hate about it, and I'll leave it there.
That's a misconception I want to get out of the way. It's not that book 1 was confusing, like I didn't understand it. I know there's plenty of stuff in there that you'll only find out if you read later on the series. Plenty of hidden stuff. But the basic plot, understood. But the things that are happening, you don't have a sense of center. You don't have a center to understand the significance of anything. So some big event will happen and you go, okay, is this a big event? Or is this just another Tuesday for these people?
Which comment on that, Rich? It could be, I guess, on rereads or after reading the full series, looking back, it could be a Tom Bombadil of you get revealed, I don't understand the significance of Tom Bombadil. You look back and go, I completely... on context now I get this,
but that made more sense in the context of one book.
And
so it was fun. Long, I can imagine just reading Fellowship of the Ring and going, okay, what the hell is that Tom Bombadil thing? That was weird and out of context. Versus end of the book makes sense. But no, that honestly, that's a very good point.
Johan, what about you?
I saw you
Yeah.
agree there.
Yeah, I definitely I agree there. And unfortunately with Malazan, I probably have like 5 things that come together to make it a really horrible reading experience for me. That being said, I actually am inclined to try it maybe a third time because the second time was a bit better. So maybe the third time will actually get me over the line. What I will say here, and I find this, I need to use a bit of words to explain it. The Malazan fandom is great. And they love to say, just trust the process, just stick with it, just trust the process, everything will be explained. But what I found constantly happening when I was reading the books is that I constantly was like, do I need to understand what they're talking about at this point? And then the Malazan fandom will be like, oh, no, don't worry about it, everything will be explained. And then I read 100 more pages and I'm like, am I supposed to understand what's going on here? And then it was like, yeah, how did you not know what they're talking about? Obviously, it was referred 300 pages ago. So I just constantly be like, I don't know if I missed something or not. And that just led to the most frustrating reading experience because every single page, I just felt like I had a question. I was like, am I supposed to understand this? Sometimes the answer is yes. Most of the time, it was just no. And it was just too frustrating. And I also just think Malazan is such a huge commitment. People say, do not give up on the series until you read all 3 books. That's 3,000 pages of just sheer confusion. I don't think that's fair to any reader to ask them to read like 3 huge books.
So you felt a whiplash of, hey, just let it happen. It'll make sense. And then when you miss something there, you go, wait, how did you not pick up on that? You were supposed to pay attention. Wait, do I focus or do I just go with the vibes? And that could be tough.
Or am I just stupid?
There's always a third option.
Option number 3. Now, door number 3 is a door that both Austin and I walk through frequently.
You're an idiot every time.
I'm with you. That was a big confusion for me, especially with book 1. Am I supposed to know? Probably not. But then at the end of the book, when we finished and we were talking with people, they enlightened us on things that we should have figured out by the end of the book. See, I wasn't paying attention because I thought I went past it. I was like, yeah, I don't know what this is, but I didn't give it any further thought with the understanding that it all will be revealed. Unlike there's some books where I will take my time to try and deeply understand every question that comes up. Malazan, you can't do that, but you also can't just breeze by and expect to understand everything. You do have to pay attention.
Yeah.
But not too much attention. Don't let it
Just
stop you.
right.
It's the reason why I think book 2 makes that distinction a lot better. The things that you're supposed to understand in that book are repeated. Like by the 3rd time, something is kind of mentioned in a roundabout way. I'm like, oh, okay. Now I'm focusing on that and I pay attention and I get it. So
and this is a whole different point, but Erickson doesn't write like Robert Jordan, where he repeats what you need to know 50 times.
It makes that series way easier to read on if someone is reading Wheel of Time and they read book 2 years ago. They'll pick up book 3 and like,
no problem.
Thanks, Jordan. I needed these reminders.
Absolutely. All right, let's go on to series number 3, and let's tackle probably the biggest modern epic fantasy series, the Stormlight Archive. Now, what I hate the most about the Stormlight Archive is something that did not bother me 3 or 4 years ago at all, but the more and more fantasy I read, either I've changed as a reader, or I think that's probably it. I've probably just changed as a reader. But really, at the end of the day, what bothers me the most, and I've only read up to Earthbringer, is the writing style. It does just not awe me at all anymore. I just love Robin Hobb. I love Ted Williams. I love those writers that are really beautiful in the writing. And I just find Brandon Sanderson, he's incredibly effective, but he just doesn't pull me in the same way that other authors do. But I would love to hear your thoughts, because I know you have some spicy thoughts on especially book 5.
Yeah, I'll say I agree that the prose is not the standout of Stormlight. Definitely agree. I came to realize that more too the more I read in fantasy, certainly, but it doesn't bother me at all. So I'm with you of it's not the wow factor in his prose isn't the context itself, and it's intentional. He can write very, very well. He's writing chunky books, so it's intentional. But he does have amazing one-liners. Amazing, like he'll get you quotes that are worthy to tattoo on yourself.
Yes,
that's an accomplishment to get a tattoo-worthy line or bar. Great, but as far as just reading 500,000 words of something, I'm with you. Of hey, it's not the most poetic or not even flower is the right word. It's just not. It's not something to gaze and appreciate, whereas your other authors can definitely. So yeah, I'm with you there. Like agree, disagree.
I agree in the sense that it was never. Well, actually, no. When I first read Stormlight Archive, I was blown away by the prose.
Yeah,
and as I read more, I went, okay, it's definitely not a detractor, but it's no longer the highlight. It's no longer a focus. But yeah, you're right. The one-liners, some of the dialogue can really land home for you, especially when it climactic scene, all the build up. I think that's mainly the get at is the prose during a build up is not anything to write home about, but then when it lands, when there's a final conclusion to some type of arc, the writing is really well done and it sticks in your mind. But yeah, it was never a highlight for me.
And can I just add one more point here?
Yeah.
I know we're talking about Stormlight here, but actually his other Cosmere novels are also having a huge impact on my opinion on this.
Yeah.
The big reason why I feel really burned out with Stormlight is not necessarily because I hated Earthbringer. I thought it was fine. It was my least favorite out of the three, but it was fine. But I read Trace of the Emerald Sea, which I thought was okay. I read a lot of other Cosmere novels, and I just felt like I burned out because even though they are diverse, it just started feeling the same again and again. While other writers that have beautiful writing, even when the story is boring, I can still get immersed. So, but yeah, that's a bit of an extra point. But I would love to hear, what do you hate about Stormlight Archive?
If people have seen our channel, we won't spoil Stormlight in case people haven't read it, but I love the first three with all my heart. Book 4, don't love. I know you like it more than me, probably.
I didn't like it as much on the first read. On a second read through, I liked book 4 even more.
But book 5 is where we definitely did not like book 5.
Yeah.
But we will, without spoiling book 5, what would you say you hate the most about the series?
Basically, the themes of Stormlight Archive and how it's presented in books 1 through 4, I do not like the conclusion that is set in book 5
of arc 1. We do know that the series is not over.
It does not. It's not over. But arc 1, I do not like that ending and the direction the theme is presenting. That's as specific I can get without getting into spoilers.
Spoiling anything. Yeah.
So to me, it's the themes. Yeah, I mean,
Johan hasn't read it yet. Yeah.
That's the number one problem for me.
I agree. It maybe in execution as well. Maybe that's something to do with the prose a little bit of just it became. How do you not spoil things? It's tough. It's tough. We're trying to tread very lightly. I guess leave it at that. I don't want to give too much away.
To me, I felt like the theme almost felt like a subversion.
Is that even too much? Oh no.
Is that?
I don't know. Johan, you let us know. Bleep us where you need to.
Be,
yeah, that's all right. I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Difficult with a book 5 of a series. Yeah.
That's fair enough. I've heard so many people hate on book 5, which makes me worried because I started feeling a bit burned out at the end of Oathbringer. Then I heard most people say Rhythm of War is a even further step down. So I was waiting for Wind and Truth, and I was really hoping everyone will say it's the best novel of the whole series, and that would make me really excited. But almost everyone I know just says it's even worse.
Well, to get on the writing style, like this is not a spoiler at all, but the tone and the writing, the prose of book 5 is far more akin to era 2 of Mistborn. And in that case, I really like era 2 of Mistborn. The tone is set up from the beginning. I enjoy it a lot, but from the get-go, that's the tone, and I'm set for it. The problem with book 5 of Stormlight is it feels the exact same style, tone, jokes, humor, all that stuff, and it doesn't gel with what was set up with Stormlight Archive. It feels out of place. And so if we want to get into that kind of prose and tonal difference.
I think you'd hate the prose, Johan. You definitely. Definitely, yeah.
Who knows? Maybe if it was established that way, that it like
it's different. Yeah.
The world feels a bit more modern and like it would all fit together, then that tone could work.
It's crazy that people have that criticism. Like, how can that even be that for the last book, suddenly it's just totally very different? But let's move on. Whoa, my voice cracked there. We'll keep that in the video.
So, next one is The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. What do I hate about this series? Again, one of my favorite series of all time.
You already agree.
Yes, I do.
Just gotta get it. But what I hate the most, oh God, I'm just gonna start going down the laundry list. Most of the romances, bad. Hate. Then there's the repetition of plot structure in especially the first three books. I would also say this is something I think most people disagree with, but I can't say it because I like it. Character frustration of like most people are frustrated that characters don't learn lessons.
But you like that, so it can't be a hate
I can't say that, but action is on that fence of sometimes it works, but other times you feel cheated because the action is often described like not actually like a Joe Abercrombie. It's just like, oh, and the swan cuts the water, and I'm like,
disagree. You said sometimes it works, never does. Hard disagree.
You have not read the end of book 6, then Lord of Chaos. That is.
Oh, I know.
I have not. No.
When it hits, it hits. I understand, but
Johan, do you agree with Rich's grievances here because you love the wheel time?
It's incredible that a series that has so many blatant flaws can still be so amazing. It's genuinely impressive that Robert Jordan was able to pull off the Wheel of Time somehow with so many flaws. I agree with all of them. I think the biggest one is the pacing. So I think the slog is real. Book 8 to 10 are, especially book 10 is a bad book. And I love the series, but book 10, Crossroads of Twilight, is a bad book. Book 8 to 9 are just way, way too slow. So that's the main reason why I think a lot of people will really struggle to actually get through the series. The thing that really, really grinds my gears with the series, and you already mentioned it, is the romance, and specifically a romance towards the end of the series, which I cannot come into due to spoilers. It is genuinely, I think it's the worst romance I've seen in my whole life. It makes literally no sense. It keeps you awake at night. It's so horrible.
I feel like I'm with
the one. I know the one you're talking about, and yeah, not the best. Not the best.
You're telling me it gets worse?
Oh, there's one romance in there that's terrible.
Oh God.
There's two romances. Like, so I think I'm being not spoilery at all. I think Perrin's romance is constantly hated on. I think people give that one too much hate. I actually kind of like the romance that Perrin has with his significant other. I'm keeping that word out so it's not spoilery. Same thing with Nynaeve is probably my favorite romance. It's actually incredibly well done. It's the best that Robert Jordan does. And the one that's in the middle is Rand and all of his love interests.
Yeah.
One's pretty good, one's okay, the other's like really bad. But it all works out in the end. It's like, okay. It's fine. Yeah.
What about you, Austin? What do you hate about the Wheel of Time?
I do want to disagree with you. I don't think the slog is as real as people say, but we'll get into that a little later.
I can't say what I hate about it because it's series you love and things you hate. I would just be speaking from a hater. It's not even fair. I don't like the series, so I cannot accurately criticize from a place of love. I can't. I can't like be in on the fun of like I just didn't like it. So I will agree with all those criticisms though. Rich does hear me, complain all the time, so he's got it down.
Oh yeah, no, I know all the criticisms at this point.
You got to know the criticisms of the things you love. It makes you understand it more. You know. Yeah. So,
but the one thing is, I don't think the slog is that real. The only context where it's real is if you're reading the books like one book a year. If you were reading it as it's released, yeah, the slog's real. But if you're reading them pretty close back to back, to me, there's in Crossroads of Twilight, there's probably the primary plot thread that stretched over 2 books. It needed to be 1 book. That's the only one that I know of that's like significantly needed to be tamped down. The other plot threads throughout the slog, I think were great. So I enjoyed.
I've not read up to that point, but I'm with Johan. It's probably bad. It's probably I agree, Johan. You're spot on with that take. Good job.
I think the issue with the slog, I do agree, it must have been horrendous being one of the readers that read it on publication, and then you waited a year or so for the next one. And it's like 3 or 4 years of your life, just nothing is happening in the series.
Yep.
Horrendous. But I actually read the whole Wheel of Time series back to back to back before I even had a channel. So I read all 14 books in 5 months. And even at that point, I still felt the slog was very, very real. But I was able to push through it because I read them so quickly. I just feel like it's really hard to justify books 8 to 10 being 3 books. One book would have made it a phenomenal book with like some 3 big events happening maybe, but yeah, it's just too long. It's just
Johan, you gave me my hate point of you know, if I have to be a hater of a series I already hate, I think it's hard to justify 14 books. All right, that's my that's my thing. I'll say. I think Johan, you were saying this too of 8 through 9, or is 8 through 10 considered the slog? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
some say 7 to 10.
8, 9, 10. Which one was the last Jordan book? Was it 10 or 11?
11.
11. Okay, got it. And because I've heard like
he nails the last book.
I heard his Jordan's last book was amazing. Yeah, yeah. Great. Okay, awesome. So
you guys are probably right. However, like it's the trade-off. I think the fact that we get 14 books, the reason I care so much about the series is I have this intimate relationship with all the characters because there's so much time with them.
Yeah.
If this was shortened down to a pretty easily, you could cut the series in half. I don't think with much difficulty, you can make it a 7-book series total. Would that be tighter? Would it be a bit more streamlined? Where more people read the whole thing? Probably. But would I care as much? Probably not.
Johan, where's Wheel of Time for you? Is it your favorite, or is it up there in it's your favorite ever?
It's in my top 5, I think, at least, or top 4. Yeah, it's up there. And the characters is what makes this series so phenomenal. At the end, when you read the last page, you're just in awe of the journey you've been through with these characters and the character arcs, the character growth, the world building. It just blows your mind at that point. So it's so worth it. But just finishing on this last point before we go on to the next series, the reason why the slog also, in my opinion, is so bad is because at the end of book 9, we have the most explosive conclusion, and something happens that has the biggest impact on the world ever. It is like changing the world in the most mind-blowing way. Then book 10 comes along, and Robert Jordan decides to not tell you the story about where this has happened. He gives you the viewpoints of everything else elsewhere, and for a whole book, you never hear the impact of what happened at the end of book 9. And it's just insanity. How can you do 800 pages and ignore the event that happened at the end of book 9? It's just, it makes no sense. I don't understand why he decided to go with that.
I admire the balls. The cojones on that of like, yeah, I'm going to drop the biggest event the series has ever gotten to at this point. And now we're going to do a book on completely everything else. I mean, if that's not like a Malazan move, isn't it? Like that feels like something Erickson would do. Of like, oh, hey, biggest thing ever. Now we're going to talk about completely something else. Haha, you have to wait a whole book to get even more details. But yeah, I get how that's frustrating.
We can talk about Wheel of Time for 2 hours. Let's go on to the next one. The next one is a series that is a favorite of yours. It's not a favorite of mine, but I'm actually hoping from this discussion now that you might be able to convince me to get back to it. So the next series is Dungeon Crawler Carl. Now, before picking up this series, I knew it was going to have loads of elements that I probably wouldn't enjoy. Lots of humor, lit RPG elements in which I've never encountered before in literature, but I went in with it with an open mind. Now, a lot of people say lit RPG is repetitive, but so many people told me Matt Dinneman, he knows how to keep it fresh and interesting, even though it's repetitive. After having read the first 2 books only, and I know that's not a lot compared to how big the series is, I did feel it was very repetitive, and that just made me feel like I didn't want to continue anymore. So that's what I hate the most about the series. But what about you guys? What do you think?
I will say, if you continue on, something to look forward to is it certainly progresses. There's a overall narrative going on in the games that you do feel that progress. Because I'd be with you too, but so I'll say that. But the thing that I hate the most...
by book 2, I definitely disagree with you. At some point, maybe I would agree with you more on later on in the series.
Yeah, I'm trying to... Is book 2's... Can I say what level it is, or is that too spoilery? I'm
actually not I haven't read, I don't know what impact it is.
Okay,
It has on the world.
I'll just say that the level that it's on there, I it's hard to think back because maybe I totally get you, but I'll say this is what I hate, but maybe is an encouraging thing for you to look forward to. The thing I probably hate the most about the series is there's so many plot threads as the books continue. There's so many plot lines going on, which in the positive camp is, there's something can grab your attention, Johan, that you'll be like, oh, great, lovely. So by the time we just finished book 7, there's so many plot threads that sometimes in a book where you're more invested in plot thread 1, 2, or 3, and then the focus is on plot thread 4 or 5, which end up being 1 and 2 and most important. So it could end up being more disappointing of going, I was really invested in plot A. I got a lot of plot B stuff. And that's going to be so subjective to if you're reading book 6 or whatever, and it's this plot line and someone's going, hell yeah, I got all the stuff that I was invested in and loved.
That happened to both of us. We were both interested in like different plot threads.
Yeah, we had different plot threads. Yeah.
For you, a plot thread was ended like that in the very beginning of the next book. And you went, oh, that's a letdown. Like that just ended.
I was looking forward to that ruminating and just boom, but it
and then
ended,
to me, it wasn't, it was a side thing. And so I was focused on other stuff, and that was delivered really well by the end of the book, and it felt more of a larger payoff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I completely agree. It's to your specific problem of like, it feels all the same. No, it adds a lot of threads.
They're fascinating.
So the whole idea of the lit RPG genre for Dungeon Crawler Carl, often if you're stuck within the game aspect of itself, of the lit RPG levels, powers, all this stuff, that stuff can become really repetitive. What Matt Dinniman really makes it special is everything outside. That you're out. Everything outside the game gives it far greater context, and like that feels different. It feels significant. Big changes moving forward. Elevates it above just the next level, new game, new power up, stuff like that.
Fascinating. I'm actually a bit more intrigued now because I think my favorite part of the first 2 books is, and it's such a short part, but you hear about there's different channels like paying to show broadcast. And that just opens so many questions like, how does this actually work? But there's just so much focus on the games. And I just like, I want to know what is happening outside of this world because it sounds like there's so much going on. But you just keep going to like killing, different enemies and animals and whatever. So maybe I should go back now.
Oh, that will change. That will change. Yep.
That elevates.
Yep.
It's most of the emotional weight comes from that kind of stuff. And it's basically, imagine they're actors on a stage, and the game itself is the performance of the stage. But you, the reader, get to see the inner thoughts of the actor. What's going to go, like, they're currently performing, but they know as soon as the scene ends, they're going to have to go backstage to what's waiting for them. And that's the intrigue. That's the meaty stuff.
It's a great series. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The next series we have is one of my all-time favorites. I'm about to read book 7 and we're going to the gala. Suneater. Suneater is a gem to me. And I'll say, this is the one thing I hate the most about the series. We're no propping it up, no saying good things. It's just what I hate. The worst thing it does is the side characters.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna say that.
See, Johan, you agree? Johan, I'll let you take it. I'll leave it this. Hadrian Marlowe is one of my favorite characters ever created in fiction. The side characters, Johan, do you agree?
I totally agree. And I have read only the first 2 books this year. I given both of them 4.5 stars. So I really, really loved both of them.
Yep.
But particularly with Empire of Silence is even worse because it reads so much as a prologue. And I was like, Rockio, these side characters, you're introducing them, you're not giving them almost any details, and some of them you kill off and stuff like that. And it just didn't have the same emotional weight to it. And then you come to book 2, and some of the side characters literally didn't play a role at all. So it's a bit unfortunate because Rockio is such an amazing writer, like his world building, prose, and as I said, Hadrian is an amazing character. So we know he can do amazing character work. So I don't know if it's just because of his debut or something, but he could have fleshed out the secondary characters definitely way more.
So I do disagree.
But
there's a caveat. I think the side characters serve a certain role in the story because of it's a framed narrative. It's Hadrian's story. We get to see Hadrian's view of characters. there's going to be a disconnect between him and the side characters.
Mm.
I'd agree that I don't care about the same side characters that I would say a Red Rising. Red Rising, Pierce Brown is probably, I think, the best that I know of where he made me care about very insignificant side characters of like, it's amazing cast of characters that you care about every single one. However, I think the characters serve a certain purpose in Hadrian's story. And so I really only care about side characters when Hadrian cares. When a character dies, when a character is alive and saved, I only care in the direct proportionality to Hadrian's emotional state. I think that's the point. So maybe it's not the highlight, but I also think it's by design to some degree.
Yeah. And if I were going to make like a counter argument to the side characters here, when we enter the Suneater universe, we know Hadrian is like 1,000 years old, and he basically says, I'm not going to recount my whole life. And if that was realistic, then obviously he would have met so many people along that journey that would live and die, live and die, live and die. So obviously he's not going to have the same emotional attachment to all of them when he tells the story. Some of these characters we meet in book 1, I haven't read to the end of the series, but he probably thinks 200 years back to some of these characters. I suppose you could make the argument that it makes sense that the characters aren't fleshed out as much as I would like. But I can't wait for book 3.
Oh, you're in for a good time. Book 3 knocks it out of the park.
That's what everyone says. Hopefully it'll be my first 5 out of 5 Suneater novel. I can't wait.
Let's go.
All right, the next one is The First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie, which is one of my favorite trilogies. I've always said that Age of Madness, which is the secondary trilogy in the universe, is one of the greatest trilogies of all time, but I still love The First Law. But I would actually say what I hate the most, and hate is too strong of a word, but for this video, I have to use the word hate. It's actually the Blade itself, the first book. I just feel like almost nothing happens, and it's such a massive turnoff for so many readers because characters are just walking around doing nothing. Especially compared to book 2 or 3, I think the first one is quite a weak introduction to such an amazing series. That being said, I gave the Blade itself 4 stars, and I think the other one's 5 stars. So I don't hate it. But I think that's the biggest point of one of my favorite series of all time. I don't have many flaws, though. There's not that many, in my opinion.
Rich, you disagree?
I disagree with you. I disagree with the author. Everyone's wrong.
You disagree with everybody.
I want to emphasize, I love the plot the most in the Blade itself. It's my favorite.
All right, disagree.
Favorite plot.
Disagree.
Oh, man.
I love it so much. How Abercrombie weaves the story together with the reader being the omniscient point of view, picking up little crumbs from every different character. Every character themselves feels almost aimless and pointless. They're going on their own journey. But when you piece them together, there's an actual full through line plot, and all of them converging together makes it far more interesting to me. That's what I love the most about the plot, is taking things from a POV in chapter 2 and chapter 7 and 5 and all across these different characters, and then coming into a new perspective and going, oh, I know more than the character. That was very fun for me. And not in the, where the narrator tells you something. It's just because I'm more aware of the other POVs. I loved that plot. It was very fun for me.
So what do you hate?
Yeah, what do you hate?
About the series? Damn, not much.
Nice.
I would say the world building, really. World building to me is very lacking.
Yeah.
Especially by the end, that I thought there's plenty of things that you think there's going to be more, and it's really just So I really don't like the world building of the Blade itself, or of First Law.
Fair.
How about you?
Johan, so your take again was Blade itself was your least favorite. It's interesting because that was my most favorite of the 3.
Oh,
the fandom disagrees with me as well. If I had to say something that I hate the most about the series, because it is something I like. I liked book 1 and 2. The 3rd disappointed me, so I had to say the thing that nothing's wrong with the book. It's just my preferences of the way it handles the theme was just more meh. So I'd say that's the thing I hate the most of. Yes, and that's more of a bigger conversation about this specific grimdark story, even though I can appreciate some grimdark. Just gets into the thematic elements of you asking what is the point, and the point is, here's the thing. Okay, this is the thing I hate the most. I feel like I got essentially the same thematic message from book 2 that I did from book 3. Especially one of the plot threads in book 2, I felt like I got the point of this grimdark series that book 3 re-emphasized. So I was like, okay, sorry, I'm beating around the bush because really trying to stay away from spoilers. But I would say that if that makes sense. Do you guys get what I mean?
I liked it, but I understand your point. It is the ultimate lesson or point of book 2.
Yeah,
is the same as book 3. There's
especially
not much
one of the plot threads specifically.
yeah.
But, in all honesty, it's all of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
That's more. It was more of that because I love the characters are awesome. Love following them.
Action,
there's so much. Yeah,
so much to love.
Yeah.
I think Age of Madness just takes everything that was great in first law and just makes it even better. And the thematic analysis, I mean, the theme goes throughout the whole trilogy, but it's just handled even better on me.
Oh, okay. That excites me. That excites me.
So good. It's just mind blowing. I gave every single book in the second trilogy 5 out of 5 stars. I was just yeah.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite trilogies of all time.
You got to read it.
Best Served Cold handles the theme in a slightly different direction. I think you would appreciate.
Awesome.
And also, Best Served Cold feels like all the best points of the first law trilogy combined into one book.
Interesting.
Okay.
So
got lots to look forward to.
Lots to look forward to. All right.
Let's go to the very last one. And unfortunately, Austin hasn't read a single book in this trilogy. But it'll be interesting because I know Rich hates this trilogy and I love it. So I'll allow you, Rich, to introduce the last series we're going to talk about.
Yes. So, Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to it. The best thing I can say about it is the prose is really well done, but that's enough positive. It's a trilogy where the entirety of book 2 could be cut and nothing of significance is lost. And most of book 3. It hurts. It hurt a lot that I read book 1 and went, okay, I'm kind of interested. Then read book 2. Didn't like any of it. There's a little summary chapter in book 3 that tells you what happened with book 2 to refresh you. And I went, I would have rather just read that. I would have rather read the refresher in book 3 and skipped the entire book. That would have been better use of my time. So
that's brutal.
Yeah.
I will have to largely disagree, but I do have some agreements there. I actually didn't think book 2 was that bad. What I thought was the worst and what I hate the most with the series is the first half of the third book, The Green Angel Tower. I felt that was just horrendously slow. And that novel is the longest novel I read in my whole life. 520,000 words, which is like 100 pages longer than Oathbringer. It is huge. And it didn't need to be that size. If it kept to the same page length as book 1 and 2, I think the trilogy would have been absolutely amazing. I think what's so fascinating about Ted Williams, and not everyone's going to love this as much, but the first 200 pages of Dragonbone Chair book 1, you're following a kitchen boy walking around a kitchen for most of it. Almost nothing happens in the first 200 pages, but I was absolutely immersed. I was just like, I loved it, which just tells you how brilliant Ted Williams is at crafting scenes, writing, introducing characters. So that was what really made me like love the trilogy as a whole. But it could probably have been 500 pages shorter and that would have made it even better. But I love the series and I can't wait to continue to the sequel.
And what do you hate, Johan?
I hate the first half of book 3 because almost nothing happens.
Got it.
And he could have cut that. I don't know why he decided to write a horrendously long novel. You know, Ted Williams, he's just announced that his novella, which apparently was supposed to be a novella, is finished now and it's like 450 pages or something.
It's a novel. What are you doing?
Oh my God. I was intrigued for the first 200 pages. However, even me, I'm going through book 1 of liking it, kind of. But I did not like the world building nearly as much as I really should have because I think the pacing was so slow. So if you're enamored by the world building, then you're going to love the series. But if the world building doesn't catch you, and I think it's a big reason why I really hated book 2. I didn't care. I didn't care about any of the world building aspects to it. And it just killed my enjoyment.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I love the world building. I read a lot of modern fantasy, and then to go back to this and actually step into a world that's so huge and rich, I just loved it. And I just felt like there's so much mystery and intrigue. And then you get introduced to new cultures, new creatures, and it just opens so many questions. So I love that. But yeah, I totally understand your point. All right, let's conclude that. Thank you so much for joining, both of you. This has been so much fun. And maybe we'll have to come back together and talk about some of the things we love about the series we hate. That could be fun.
Can I say what I hate the most about Library of Vikings channel is the videos aren't longer. Why do we have to end now? Why can't we send more hate? Do you agree with that take, Johan, or is this going to be too much editing for you? You disagree with that take?
I agree. We could also just keep going for another hour, right? Well, why not? I have a baby. That's why. That's why we can keep on going.
Johan, thank you.
Thank you so much. See you, Ron.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.